100 wins with no losses. Yes, this untouchable legendary fighter was so good that he once went 100 wins without losing a single time. Like Bruce Lee would say, this legend is like water. He can flow and he can crash.
Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
At this level, he's so good that he doesn't even need to think anymore. He just feels.
Don't think. Feel.
As a teammate of the greatest of all time, Sanchai, their legendary coach said that out of the two of them, Lurdzilla is even more talented. Yes, Peeper, the legendary head coach of Jockey Gym, said that out of everyone he has ever trained, Lurdzilla was the most talented out of all of them. And it's no surprise when you look at him fight. He's just absolutely ridiculous. Look at how he sees everything coming and makes all of his opponents look absolutely foolish. Many people ask, how does this legendary fighter fight without a guard? They also ask how he uses head movement and reflex for defense like no other Muay Thai fighter can. Fight fans, welcome back to another episode of Lawrence Kenshin Striking Breakdowns. Thanks to your curiosity, we spoke directly with Lurdzilla to answer those questions. In this episode, we will explore how Lurdzilla does the impossible things that he does. Lurdzilla isn't so great just because his lineage was the very best of Muay Thai. Indeed, it wasn't just because he had one of the best coaches of all time and the greatest teammates around him. That certainly helped a ton. But it also comes down to the way he looks at martial arts. You see, as a fan of all styles, Lurdzilla loves to copy other martial arts. Bruce Lee once said, absorb what is useful, reject what is useless, and add what is essentially your own. And that is exactly what Lurdzilla did with all martial arts. Like Bruce Lee, Lurdzilla loves to incorporate different styles to make his own unique style. Indeed, when you look at the different elements of Lurdzilla, there isn't any one particular thing he does that other fighters haven't done before. But when you combine all of the things Lurdzilla does together, he is a completely unique fighter. That is, no one else in the history of fighting moves like Lurdzilla. He is an all-style fighter with the ability to dodge any strike at any time. And he can do all of this without a guard most of the time too. How can someone possibly be so defensively sound without a guard? You see, when a fighter lowers his hands, his body becomes more relaxed. Without the hand and arms blocking the eyes, the hands down fighter gains better vision. The relaxation, along with the vision enhancement, allows for better reaction to all of the opponent's movements. This is a really big part of how Lurdzilla can read everything the opponent does. By having perfect vision of his opponents and a vastly superior pattern reading ability, Lurdzilla can adjust to all incoming attacks perfectly. Just look at him flawlessly dodging his opponent's strikes. See how he flawlessly anticipates the distance of a punch and exactly when to check a kick. There's been no other person in Muay Thai that can utilise defence like Lurdzilla can. But all the defence in the world won't win a fight by itself. To be a truly untouchable technician, Lurdzilla needs to be able to control his opponents. His best ways for control is his jab. Lurdzilla can deliver this from all angles, and he can deliver it especially well from a low guard. On top of the boxer's jab, there's also the Muay Thai jab, which is with the foot. This is also known as the teep or push kick. With this attack, Lurdzilla can also control his opponents at the kicking range. His push kick is so effective that he can park the leg on his champion opponents and completely nullify all of their attacks. It's an extremely advanced move that few others know how to do, and even fewer dare to try it in the ring against championship opponents. You see, all of this falls under the umbrella of distance management. True technicians, such as a Muay Thai stylist like Lurdzilla, understand that distance management is the key to championship success. His jab and push kick controls the range so perfectly that he dictates exactly when and where an exchange will happen. But there's much more to how he creates order out of chaos. The next important thing that allows Lurdzilla to read his opponents like a book is because his opponents strike in a predictable manner. You see, most strikers shift from left to right, or right to left when striking. This is a feature of fundamental striking. But for a pattern reading grandmaster like Lurdzilla, This is extremely easy for him to fight against. Lordzilla has hundreds of ways to counter every move that his opponents make, and he can easily interrupt this type of predictable rhythm. To have a chance against Lordzilla, one must also be unpredictable. In Lordzilla's own striking, he's constantly changing levels and also changing the speed and power of each strike. Lordzilla often chains same side attacks and pieces together unorthodox moves that few other people attempt. This makes him unpredictable in his offense, helping him score many easy knockouts when he's done playing with his opponents. When it comes to Lordzilla's offense, it is built by feints and tricks. Whenever his opponent thinks that he's going to throw one type of attack, it's never so straightforward. Lordzilla isn't even a powerful striker compared to knockout artists, but the most dangerous attack is one that an opponent can't read or see. An unexpected hit produces the most damage. This is why, despite Lordzilla not focusing on power in his strikes, and instead focusing on speed, he can still knock out many of his opponents. Many people would think Lordzilla is just posing and trying to look cool, with his stance low and having his hands down. But when Lordzilla is in his power stance and planted to the floor, he is using this stance to see his opponent's full body. This, he said, allows him to keep full vision of the opponent and allow him to see all attacks coming. Against great kickers, he will do this more often. He likes to do this with his hands down because against most of his opponents, he simply doesn't need a guard. His footwork, evasive slips, and leans are more than enough. But this hands-low power stance also gives him unpredictable punches. Even more, it gives him the ability to slip punches like a boxer. Many Muay Thai fighters prefer not to slip punches because their stance is too tall, and it's also easy to slip right into a head kick. But because Lordzilla is also a master of high kicks, he knows exactly what to watch out for when he's doing it. There's so many nuances in Lordzilla's striking system that no one out there knows except Lordzilla. That's why together we created the Lordzilla Untouchable striking system. This video curriculum has over 100 masterclass tutorials taught by Lordzilla himself. So if you're interested in Lordzilla's system, check out the link in the description. If you enjoyed this episode, please do watch another episode of Striking Breakdowns. I'm Lawrence Kenshin, and thank you for keeping our channel alive.